Hi everyone, today we're going to cover a brief guide to everything you need to know about prerequisites. So this is what we're going to cover today, a brief explainer about what prerequisites are. We're going to have a look at how to find prerequisites on websites, and I'll debunk a couple of myths that are floating around about prerequisites. First thing is, what are they? Well, prerequisites are subjects that you need to have studied for 4 whole semesters at school in order to be able to take that course at uni. You need to exit on a sound achievement or higher. And what that looks like is, for example, even though this student started out on a D+ in semester 1, year 11, they got their grades up into the comfortable range, and this is the all-important thing, the exit grade. They exit on an SA2, then they've satisfied the prerequisite. On the other hand, this student started out on a C-, so it looked good for a while, but in year 12 something happened and their exit grade was only an LA9. This student doesn't satisfy a prerequisite. So now that we've had a look at that, let's have a brief look at a couple of uni websites to have a look at where you could find what the prerequisites are. We're starting out on the JCU website. We're looking at the Bachelor of Business in Sports and Events Management. And if you scroll down a little bit, we'll always look at the Australian version because nobody at our school's an international student. And tells you where you can study it. It's 3 years. And if we look down here, the OP is 19 and the prerequisite is only English. Where it said that Maths B is desirable, that means it will help you, but you don't have to have it. Next up, brief look at the University of Queensland website. We're in Future Students here, and this is the Bachelor of Exercise and Nutrition Sciences. So that is in the Health Sciences faculty, but it's delivered at the St Lucia location. And over here, you're going to be looking at the OP9 and the 81 rank. Don't worry about the number down the bottom. So inside program details, it will give you the prerequisites. So that's where you always have to go on the University of Queensland website. 3-year degree, the OP rank, and here you need Year 12 English plus Bio, Chem or Physics, any one of those. And from 2018, so really that's for everybody who's looking at this webcast, you'll have to have a pass in one of the maths. Okay, so that is in program details. So back to our presentation, let's debunk a few myths. The first one is that you need to do Authority English to get an OP and get into uni. So your OP will be calculated on your best 20 semesters. Most people who are doing an OP course will have 6 OP subjects, but an OP can be calculated on 5 subjects. So if you have 5 other authority subjects, you can change into English communication and you get an OP that's based only on your 5 OP subjects. And in theory, you could even get an OP1 doing English Com. I don't know that would happen in reality, but theoretically it's possible. The English prerequisite will look like this: 4 SA, right? So 4 semesters of sound achievement or higher. So it'll mean passing at the end, as we've just seen. Most courses, just about every course has an English prerequisite, but most universities are going to be okay with English communication. So JCU and CQU will accept English communication as satisfying that prerequisite, not for all courses, not for Bachelor of Education, not for Bachelor of Dentistry, not for Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery at JCU, for example. But for the most part, English Com will satisfy the prerequisite there. At the University of Queensland, it won't satisfy the prerequisite. You'll need Authority English, and that's generally reflected in the higher OP scores to get into Queensland Uni. If you think you might not pass English, the first thing to do is to see your English teacher and ask if they recommend that you change into English Com. And if they say yes, because they might say, no, you definitely have the talent, just try a little bit harder and go to the tutorials. But if they say that you should change into English Com, please come and see me next, because there are a couple of other details that I'll discuss with you that I didn't want to put on this webcast because they don't apply to too many people, and it'll take a long time to explain. So the next stop is seeing me and seeing whether we can change you out and whether that will affect what you want to do at university. And then the third stop will be seeing Mr. Helms and making that subject change. And the reason that we ask you to see 3 people before you change is to make sure that you don't miss out on any opportunities by making that change. Second myth, you need chemistry and math B for everything. It's true that chemistry and maths B are very popular prerequisites, particularly for sciences, but there are a whole lot of courses also where those skills aren't needed. Myth number 3, there's no way around not having the prereqs. That's not true. There are a lot of ways around not having the prerequisites. First is special consideration. So let's say you're a student who changes out of Maths C and changes into chemistry after semester 1, year 11. And you're a good student, so you end up with a high achievement 9 as your exit grade in chemistry. So that's demonstrating that you're an able student in chemistry and you are able to, despite not having that first semester, you were able to achieve well. You don't satisfy the prerequisite because you've only got 3 semesters, not 4. But really the prerequisites are put in by the universities to make sure that you have a really good foundation of knowledge on which they can build when they take you into that higher study. So somebody who exits on an HA9 is very likely to have that good foundation. So what we do then is we ring up the universities and we make a particular case for that student to be eligible, even with only 3 semesters, to waive the prerequisite. And if that's you, please come and see me because I'll need to make that application for you or help you with it. Second option is a bridging course. Let's say you haven't done chemistry and you decide that you wanted to study a course that you need chemistry as a prerequisite for. You can do a course over the Christmas holidays, but there are many possible problems. The first is that if you didn't take chemistry at school, with all the support and tutoring available, it was probably because you didn't like that or you weren't good at it. So to suddenly decide that you are going to take it, cram a lot of learning into a short period of time and be successful with far less help than at school, that might not happen. Third thing is bridging courses usually cost money. And the fourth thing is that bridging courses, they often finish with a really, really tight timeline. Some don't, but many finish with a really tight timeline between the end of the bridging course and the start of the uni course. So if you didn't get through in the bridging course and pass that, then you still wouldn't be eligible for the course that you wanted to take at uni. So I don't love option number 2. Option number 3, if you decide that you really want to study science, but you haven't got a Maths B or chemistry prerequisite, JCU will build those prerequisites into your first year in the science course. So you wouldn't have to study any longer, but you also wouldn't be able to take electives. And electives are subjects that you choose that aren't part of the core course that's decided for you by the uni. So you don't get to choose your own interest subjects. You have to do the Maths B and science in that one. Fourth is diploma courses. JCU and CQU both have pretty good ones that are low cost or no cost depending on the course in the uni. And they sort of will take 6 months to a year, depending on the option, to build up your skills and get you ready to go to university. And they will generally give you some course credit towards studying. So if you did a JCU or diploma in health, then you would get, and then you wanted to go on to nursing, then you'd get some credit for nursing subjects, so that you wouldn't study for the whole year for your diploma course and then a whole 4-year nursing course. There would be less time. The last one is assumed knowledge. Assumed knowledge is more prevalent these days, and rather than have prerequisites, universities tell you that they assume that you will know what you're doing. So assumed knowledge, as offered by Griffith Uni, assumes that you have the knowledge to take on that course, but they're not going to ask you to prove it. So if you didn't have Maths B or chemistry and you wanted to study science, they'd let you in, but would you pass your first year at university if you hadn't studied that beforehand? So it sounds good in theory, but it probably doesn't set you up for success. Last one is passing your prereq means you have a strong basis for passing the course. Now, I went to a lecture 2 years ago at JCU, and the person giving the lecture was the lecturer for the introductory maths subject for all engineering students in their first year of study. And he told us that 60% of students who take that course don't pass it. And he broke it down into who was passing and who wasn't passing overall in general. And in a nutshell, basically, students who get a B or above in Maths B and a C or above in Maths C, they were pretty much all passing in that subject. Students with a B or above in Maths B, but who weren't taking Maths C, most of those students were passing. And students who were only taking Maths B and who were achieving a result of C or lower, those students, well, it couldn't be lower because then you wouldn't achieve the prerequisite, but C students who didn't take Maths C, those students, a lot of them were not passing. So if you're really not a strong student in Maths B, then you should probably rethink it if you have chosen engineering as a career, or certainly go and speak to your teacher or Mr. Cridland about that. And that's all that I had to present to you today. Please come and see me if you've got any more questions.